person because I just made it so people could see it but not edit it. So that's probably why it didn't have you like logged in, quote unquote. But yeah, I just want to congratulate Zach on picking your college. Uh,
Yay!
I know that you had several to choose from, and I hope that you are ecstatic about your choice and excited about the next chapter.
Thank you. I'm very excited. Yes.
That's awesome. Are your
That's so
parents like
great.
happy that you're fairly close still?
Yeah, they're happy that I'm not in like California.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, he picked Michigan, so he's still going to be pretty close to home. So I'm sure you'll get pop-in visits from your family.
Yeah, they'll come, but they know not to come too much, you know.
There's a reason there's the distance. I get it. I
Right.
get it.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. So, on the agenda today, we're just going to do a really quick recap of the meeting with Rokana's staffer, the workspace transfer, and a tech update, the direction of this movement. Joy is going to talk about United for East Palestine. And then we also have an email from Tracy Carson. And I just wanted to touch really quickly on our coalition partners. Um, and then Joy, if you could just periodically check to see if Logan enters while I'm blah blahing, that would be awesome. Okay.
Yep.
Sweet. Okay. So we met with Emma Preston on Tuesday, just last Tuesday, and she is a staffer of Rokana's. And Ricky and Joy were also in the meeting, as well as Logan. So I was just wondering if Joy and Ricky, if you wanted to start and just kind of give like a really quick synopsis, because I have like 10 minutes for this section of the agenda.
Well, so basically, last April, which I can't believe it was a year ago, myself, Ricky, and Logan went to DC to meet with Ro, and I brought like 15 grand in medical bills and stuff, and I was like, look at this is what happens, and all those things. And then we talked to Ro for like an hour and 15 minutes. And we talked to him about writing a medical debt cancellation bill. And he was like surprisingly all about it. Um, then cut to where we are now. It's been a process, but now we're in April and Ro is saying he looks for it to be finalized in May. So it has been loosely written. It is not a hard copy yet. So we went over, what we want to be in it, what we don't want to be in it, the language we want to use, etc. There are several good things we learned in the meeting. One of them is that they're going to let us see the legislation before it goes live. So we will be able to be involved in the process until it goes live, which is really incredible for a bunch of volunteer, activists to actually be contributing to legislation. So I'm so proud of our team. Like, that is so freaking amazing. So that's one thing that we get to still be involved. Another thing is Bernie is joining with the legislation. He's going to also be co-signing and working on it. The other things that were very interesting that we didn't know about actually is the legislation will have that it is illegal to credit report due to medical debt, and that it will be illegal to have collection calls due to medical debt. These two things are huge. We did not know these two things were being put in this bill. So, and this would change millions of lives. And if you think about it, and Ricky said this it's like almost a different way to go Medicare for all, because if people know they're not going to be credit reported or get collection calls, then they're not going to feel that pressure to pay those bills. um and then they were saying that they have in order to get rid of the medical debt, they're going to have, um, you know, uh, basically well off medical establishments essentially just cancel it for pennies on the dollar. And then smaller places, they will be giving them grants to basically to do the cancellation. So they're not penalized because they're smaller entities. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. But we will be meeting with them again. You know, I don't know that it's going to pass. They don't seem to think it will. And we need to keep in mind that, it very well may not, but the reason this is so important is also to get people talking about it, because we know 24/7 student debt, student debt, student debt, and it's like medical debt affects more people, and yet it's never talked about. So this is so important that even if it gets presented and failed, we still have people talking about, okay, first of all, holy shit, a few volunteer activists can actually get in the, legislation process. Holy crap. That's what happens when you hold people accountable. But then also, like, oh, this is bullshit. It didn't pass, and this is why it should. So I think even worst case scenario, just people talking about it, and I think it's totally worth it regardless. And then we also have it there to try again. But I also gave them the update that we met with Rashida Tlaib and Andy Kim, who both, and Pramila's
Mm-hmm.
legislative assistant, so that they and they all said they'd be on board. Of course they'd read it first, but so to reach out to them, because then we could have 3 other potential co-signers.
Excellent recap. Ricky, did you want to jump in as well?
No, I think that actually that's the gist of what it is. If people can't pay, which, I mean, to me, it incentivizes people just not paying. But like, hey, if that means the government has to step in and make sure that collections can't, impede, put liens on people's homes, if people's livelihoods are not threatened by medical debt, that is a huge, huge deal. So whatever.
Yeah.
We should definitely read this bill, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to read it before we put our name on it, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we support it.
But yeah,
sorry, Ricky.
No, go ahead.
I was actually really shocked to hear how little Emma knows. That's the staffer that we met with. How little she actually knows about healthcare, and just uses the terminology like Medicare for all and single payer without actually recognizing what they are. And then when I mentioned that we live in a country that creates its own currency so we can afford anything like that, she was like, oh yeah, that's true. It was so funny because they know this. These motherfuckers know this, and they play all these taxpayer games and pretend like we can't do this. I was interested to find out that it was more of the establishment, so the hospital or community clinic or whatever would actually have to file for a grant, as long as they're not like a big huge profitable place or something like that, for-profit hospital. They would have to file for a grant to have somebody's medical debt. So say I hold a medical debt at this particular establishment, but I'm not going to pay it. They can't collect it from me because then it would be illegal. So then the hospital has to request a grant from the government, which is like what Ricky was saying is like a reverse single payer, which is, I mean, there's still a middleman, which makes no sense, but I guess this is a step forward in the right direction. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation because, like I said, she just really is not knowledgeable. And that's the person they sent to meet with healthcare activists. So I was kind of surprised by that. But there are a couple comments in the chat, so I'm just going to go ahead and read them. The first one's from Shane. Is there any way we can cap profits for the insurance companies? I saw that in California, they were doing something about capping oil profits or something. And then also from Zach in the chat, we would also get a list of who isn't supporting, which is important.
That's
And I think those are
very
great.
good point.
Yeah, I think those are great comments. So I went ahead and added those to the notes. And then I'll just do like a slight recap of what Joy said and Ricky said, add that to the notes as well. But Logan did record the meeting with Emma Preston, Rokana's staffer, and I believe he either has or is going to upload that into our shared Google Drive, the M4M4ALL official Gmail account. So we have record of that, just like they have record of meeting with Rashida's group and, all of that stuff as well. So it's great, and I just really want to look through the legislation. I'd like to touch base with Real Progressives because they're more of like the economic side of healthcare. I mean, pretty much all policy, and then also national single payer, mostly Kay Tillow and Walter Tillow because they're super wonky and love legislation and that kind of stuff. So I would love to have them look over it as well, just to see what their input is, because I don't want to have us commit to some piece of legislation that's just garbage, like the Restrict Act, where they're like trying to ban TikTok, but in reality, it's just a Digital Patriot Act, so they can put us in prison if we use a VPN. It's just really fucking crazy. So I don't want anything like that to happen, where it's like, oh, well, if you haven't paid a debt, it's forgiven for 10 years, but then when it goes 20 years old, then we can arrest you or some shit like that. So
and add $5,000 of interest.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to make sure that there's none of those loopholes that are going to screw people over. I will note that one of the concerns that they had was that people will just abuse this legislation and not pay their medical debt. And so she asked us how we felt about that. And I just flat out told her, I was like, we're literally the wrong people to ask that, because I don't care if people use this as a loophole to not pay their medical bills. They shouldn't have them to begin with. And she was just kind of taken back that I even said it out loud, but I was just like, bitch, we don't want people to have medical bills. We don't even want that paper statement to be generated and sent to anybody. Like, that's how we don't want people to have to pay for care that they need. It's a human right. So I was like, you're asking the wrong people about that.
When she asked that, I thought, is this me crazy?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
She literally said, are you concerned people won't? And I'm like, concerned? Hell no, we're happy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, just like all the rich people that use all the tax loopholes. Yeah, I'd like those poor people to use those loopholes to not pay medical bills so they can get care.
Oh, also on Shane's question, as far as putting caps on, okay, so here it's kind of confusing, but after working in healthcare over a decade, I learned, throughout different systems, this is how it works. So when you have a procedure or whatever, a visit, etc., done, when you have insurance, even if the thing is not covered by the insurance, there is a cap of what they can charge you. If you don't have insurance, there is no cap. They can charge you whatever in the entire universe. Like if I go to a 2-hour, or excuse me, a 20-minute appointment with a doctor, and it's $200 without insurance, but I have insurance, and even though the insurance does not pay for the appointment, it's going to only be $150 for me because I technically have insurance. That's how they do it. So there's a cap if you have insurance. If you don't have insurance, there is never a cap. And unfortunately, as far as making a law, that isn't feasible when it comes to healthcare, because it would actually require each entity. Like it would be like, okay, for a consultation, it would never be more than $100, and it would have to, they would use it so that it would have to break down per procedure, per like procedure code. So it would be like you'd have to have a list. This procedure would never cost more than X amount of dollars at any entity. And there's thousands of procedure codes. So I unfortunately don't see that ever happening. Because also, many hospitals and clinics and stuff, they are their own entities. They are not directly run by the government, so they wouldn't be held to stick to it.
Excellent. So, does anyone have any other questions or comments before we? Oh, Logan says he's in the studio or backstage, not in the studio.
No, I brought him in.
Oh, did you? It's not showing up on my thing.
I think it might be the limitations of how many avies it shows.
Oh, when it's screen sharing or something. That makes sense. Okay. Well,
wait, there he goes. It
okay.
didn't add him the first time. That's weird. Sorry, boo.
That's okay.
Did you want to add to the conversation about the meeting with Rokana staffer before we move on to the next agenda item?
No, that's okay. Thank you, though.
Okay. And then did you already put the recording in the Google Drive?
No, I have to do that. I'm going to do that today. It's on my iPhone, so I just have to transfer it to my laptop. So
okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to move on to the next agenda item, which is the workspace transfer and a tech update. So we are no longer using Nextcloud for our workspace. Josh is no longer supporting it. He's working on other programming stuff and things like that. So we have moved to Slack and Trello. Slack is going to be like the communication, I think, with volunteers and notifications for like meetings and stuff like that. And then Trello is going to be where we actually have our organizing boards. I know that, Zach, you're not too familiar with that yet, but I know that you'll get the hang of it really quickly. It's actually super easy to use. And that's where when we were organizing July 24th, 2021, the 56 events in one day, that's where we organized those actions, and specifically like speaker graphics, things like that. It's really easy, and I think it's fun to use. I actually love using Trello, but I'm also a weirdo about organizing stuff. So I just really like it. And then we are also going to be testing out meeting platforms the next several meetings to see if we can find one that actually suits our needs and is also free. Although I know that, Joy, you do pay for StreamYard for your show and stuff like that. And it may be difficult to use Joy's StreamYard in the future just because of possible conflicting meeting times and show times and things like that. So I don't want to put too much pressure on Joy for using StreamYard. So we are going to be testing out some other platforms, and hopefully there'll be ones that you don't have to like download anything. Like Zoom, you have to download an app or whatever, or Teams, which we had a hell of a time with on Tuesday when we met with Emma. So I don't think we'll be using that, although Teams did notify me on the free level you can hold 60-minute meetings for free up to 100 participants. So that is kind of enticing, but I know that a lot of people are not familiar with Teams, and it is kind of a pain to use until you really get used to it. So I don't know. The next meeting that we have, though, we are going to test out this thing called Jitsi Meet, which is a free, like, open source meeting platform. And this one can also be integrated into Slack. So we could actually add an app into the Slack, which would notify people when, like a general meeting is happening or marketing or whatever, when we decide to pick up, going back into our meeting routines. And then I'll just keep, I'm sorry.
Sorry, there, now StreamYard, this one here, this does have a free option. It may be like a 40-minute thing, like Zoom thing. I've never used it. But also, before, the very first streaming platform I used is called BeLive, BeLive, and that was free. It sucked as far as shows, you know, because it was like super, but I haven't used it in like 2 years, so it may have gotten better, but it was free. So we can also look into that worst case scenario.
Sweet. I'm just putting notes. I do want to try and see if we can find one that's like 60 minutes because I think that's a good time. I mean, I think that we could get through a meeting in 40 minutes, but not all of the time. So having that extra 20 minutes is really going to be helpful for us in the future. Why did it correct? God damn it. Okay, thank you for those suggestions because I'll look into that as well. So just so you guys are aware, we're just going to kind of be hopping around, just testing some things out to see what we can kind of find that's going to be free that works for us. So, and then I wanted to ask because I feel like texting is kind of invasive into your personal life, like outside of you being a volunteer. So I don't want to overwhelm anyone that's in a group text, but I know that it's the only real platform or way to communicate that works with Joy's reading device. So I don't know if there's another preferred way. Like, Zach, you were in Mexico and we were like texting a lot. So I hope that you don't have like a major, huge bill for like roaming or something in a different country. But I just kind of wanted everybody's input on, are you comfortable using the text group chat? Is it too overwhelming? Do we need to, like, you know, Joy can communicate with us through that, or how do we want to do that?
I'm totally fine with the
Okay.
texting.
It's not overwhelming for you? That was pretty much my biggest concern, was that it was...
I'm totally fine with it.
Okay. Ricky says he likes texting. Okay. Oh, Ricky said that there might be a limit on recording the back end on StreamYard. I'm going to go ahead and add that. Okay, so as long as you're cool with that, and then is everybody else okay with it? I know that sometimes I'll like silence, you know, text or something like that just to kind of take a break mentally. So I hope that if anybody needs to do that, you're kind of just stepping away. If you aren't interested in doing volunteer stuff and you see texts binging in, you don't have to jump in right away. If there is something that's like really urgent, I or Logan will text you like personally and say, hey, we need a vote on this or something, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Okay, perfect. In the chat. And I think Virginia will be okay with it too. I'll ask her. I don't know if she's able to join today or not. It was kind of a bummer to schedule this just because I really wanted to get all of us together, but it is just really tough right now. So I'm glad the majority of us were able to make it, and then we can fill Virginia in later as well. Okay, so we did that. Okay, so so Josh is out of treatment and he's still living in the Chicago area. He's trying to, you know, do his own thing right now. But he did let me know that the server is actually paid for by a company that he's working with right now called Apache. And so we don't actually have to cover any costs to keep our website up,
Yes.
the website builder, or our official emails for the foreseeable future.
Yes,
and I don't know what that
yes.
technically means, if that's like a 6-month foreseeable future or a year foreseeable future. But I'm just really excited that we can maintain the website, and hopefully, you know, if shit hits the fan with Josh, I am the power of attorney on the server, so I have all of his like personal information in case something happens to him. I actually would take over ownership of the server. So hopefully, you know, if shit hits the fan and this Apache thing is only like a 6-month cover or whatever, you know, I'm trying to get a job and then I can just start paying for it. Because I think the website with the builder, because the email is part of the website, so you don't pay an additional cost for the email access. The website with the builder is like $50 a month. So to have the website personally, I think that makes us look like legit and official. And I don't want all of these times we've sent out communications for M4M4ALL.org and then people like try and go to that website and then it doesn't exist. So I'm cool with keeping the website up. Josh wants to meet with Logan and I so we can update the website and get more traffic coming in. And then some other updates as well that we want to add to the website. So I just wanted to update everyone on that. But we don't have the workspace anymore. And I can't remember if there was something else. Oh, and because Josh is technically not part of March for Medicare for All, we no longer have the dialer. So he said he might.
Did.
Well, we did. Just nobody ever like used it. So I did training meetings on it multiple times. We just never used it. Anyways, so yeah, does anyone have any questions or anything about the workspace transfer or tech update? Or Logan, do you want to add anything? Because I know that you've been spearheading the workspace transfer.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everyone has access to Slack and Trello. If not, and our Google Drive. If not, I'll send another email with the links for that.
So, question, and this is, how do you guys feel about doing a March for Medicare for All Patreon?
See, the only thing is that because we're an organization, I think that we would then have to file that as taxes, or excuse me, file taxes for that because it's considered like quote unquote a business. But we haven't actually filed as a 527 or a 501c anything yet. And that's kind of a conversation that I've been wanting to have with you guys because I don't know if I even want to file and start taking money. Like if we organize actions and stuff, I think it should be up to the city lead to like bring in donations for their action. So for example, I'll just use this. If I were to organize an action here in Vancouver, what we would do is put a link on the website that would say direct sponsor materials or whatever for the Vancouver, Washington action. And then it would be them paying me, Elizabeth Meyer, not March Medicare for All, but Elizabeth Meyer, the city lead of Vancouver, Washington, to cover the costs of printing for flyers, for example, or signs to get made. So it would be the financial responsibility of the city lead to get the things covered, or have people drop off bottles of water so you don't have to pay for that kind of thing. But I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, because to file the UN the complaint against the United States with the UN, you have to be a nonprofit. And if we are not a nonprofit, then we cannot be the lead filer for that complaint.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's one of the actual rules of being able to file a complaint with the United Nations, is that it has to come from a nonprofit. Isn't that fucked up? Like you can't, as an individual, file against your own country.
Wow.
I don't know. I thought it was weird. But yeah, so that's just like a thought, for the future. If you guys want to, if you think we should do it differently, we can definitely have that conversation. I would prefer us not having to be financially responsible for everybody across the country. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't want it to be centralized. I want this to be decentralized.
I feel like the second you put like money in it, it's just not organic anymore.
Mm-hmm. And I think that individuals across the country raising money would be more organic,
Yeah, definitely.
So then that would put like on the city leads or their team or whatever, then I would have to reach out to like, other organizations, Green Party. I don't think there's anything like that here in Vancouver specifically. So it'd have to be like Portland or Washington State or something like that, and say, hey, I'm doing an action, like, is anybody interested in doing this? Can you guys, buy 3 cases of water or whatever, and do direct sponsorship ways.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? I see there's nothing in the chat. Nobody's on screen, so I can't see hands raised. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on because we're at 34 minutes in. So, we don't have to spend like 100 years on this section. This is like a food for thought agenda item, because I really want everyone to think about what they want. And then when we reconvene, we can have that conversation. So what are your thoughts on the direction of this movement? Is healthcare enough? I am personally, my feeling is that it's not, because healthcare is so many things. Like, if you don't have a home, your healthcare is impacted. If you live in an area that's industrialized and they're pumping out toxins into the air all the time, or you live next to a factory farm where they're dumping the pig farm sewage that's getting sprayed on the fields next to your house, and you have asthma, you're impacted. So like, healthcare impacts so many things, imperialism, education, nutrition, war. Like, I feel like we can connect all of these things to healthcare, and that we can expand this movement, because honestly, what I think we're really trying to accomplish here in this movement is more than just healthcare. We really want it all. Like, we want an entirely new system that works for the people. And I don't know if that's something that everybody else is interested in. So I really just want you guys to think. You guys can comment on it, what you want right now, and then we can come back to it later. And then I did just want to touch again on that we did start demands. This was back in, I think, December. Before I went in for surgery, we talked about it, but nothing really happened with it because there was a bunch of, do we have a website? Don't we have a website? That kind of shit going on. So we just kind of left it alone. So yeah, before I move on to the next bullet point, if anyone has any questions, comments, or we just kind of want to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I made a post, well, I think several posts over the past few months that essentially said that. It was like, do you want clean air and drinking water? Okay, you should support M4ALL. Do you believe, like, there is literally nothing in this world you can point to and say that healthcare is not relative to. There's nothing. Even student loan debt, depression, people need, I mean, there's so much we could do with that, because I think people are desensitized to the word healthcare. I think too many people equate healthcare with insurance, and we need to get people on the track to realize healthcare means health, and health means environmentally, mentally, psychologically, physically, like literally your entire livelihood. So I think we need to do more, if I don't know, Ricky and Logan, I don't know what kind of, like, I know you guys can make TikToks and stuff, but I would love to see us make some videos that, like, take pictures of like farmland and, just like the instances you were talking about, or, and just loop them together and say, all of these things require you to have healthcare to get through them, type thing. And I think we should definitely focus on the relativity to everything. This is why we're doing it, not just because you should be able to go to the doctor, but just because if something like a freaking train derailment happens, you have the ability to go to a doctor.
Does anyone else want to jump in? I'll take that silence as a no. I totally agree with you, Joy. But I know that we've had that conversation before. So I don't know if this is like too much, if everybody else is just like, no, I only want to fight for healthcare, and this should be a movement only specifically for Medicare for all, or if we can. Yeah. Logan in the chat asked if we can schedule the next marketing meeting. Chat. Oh my God, Jesus.
I think it's also an important distinction, though. This would still be a healthcare group and a healthcare
Absolutely.
movement. So it would mainly be taking a slightly different direction as far as how we promote it and approach it with people. Just showing the relativity to everything else. Like, it's very much like when we did that 3-day forum, every single panel was about a different topic, but it was all relating to healthcare.
Yeah, and I think this is another way that we can build the movement and the coalition, because it's never just healthcare, it's so many things. And that's part of one of, the issues that we had with the complaint filing, is that we're in an echo chamber. We're yelling at healthcare activists that we need healthcare, when we really need to be talking to climate activists and say how our clean air, water, and soil is related to our health. If we don't have good drinking water, we don't have good health. If our soil isn't good and we can't grow food, we don't have good health. If we're breathing in toxins and all of the crap that they, put in the air, then we don't have good health. And we need to be able, how many kids have asthma but aren't able to go get their albuterol, their inhalers and things like that, because it's like $300-$600 for a fucking inhaler, and then they're just keep getting, toxins dumped in the air around their house or whatever. So it's like all these things are so connected, and that's why I just feel like I feel like we've hit a plateau with just fighting for healthcare. But again, it's not, I don't want to de-emphasize how important healthcare is, because there's a reason why I'm here to begin with. But it just is, it's like like an octopus with never-ending arms. It's just like there's so many things that are connected to healthcare. I think that we can expand beyond that and get more people involved.
I think we also need to do things with the current news. I know with our team, it's very difficult because of all of our crazy schedules. But okay, so let's see, something Elizabeth and I have focused on is 30 million people losing SNAP benefits. So what we could do with that is say, okay, well, there are tons of kids who have food deserts. What does that do? It impairs your health, especially when you're growing. So what does that mean? They're going to likely have weight problems or have, they're going to need better nutrition, things like that. That is something they're going to need healthcare to maintain, at least maybe not now, but in the near future. We can pretty much anything that's happening right now, we can link that to healthcare and then add the hashtags and things like that to bring visibility to it.
I mean, even striking workers, a lot of the
Oh, yeah.
negotiations has to do with them getting a better health plan for their family. So, there's just so many things. Ricky in the chat says there is no path to national single payer right now, as they have the activist community divided and half the country doesn't trust the government to do anything. So we have to do what we can in this space for the time being.
Something
I mean,
I could oh,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I don't disagree with that. But ultimately what I'm talking about is like a complete overhaul about this bullshit system that we currently have. So it's like, I don't know if you remember this, but when we were working on the demands for July 24th, 2021, there was a big old hoopla about us threatening a general strike. And people like Edie, for example, were saying, oh, we can't do that. We shouldn't threaten a general strike. I don't foresee how anything's going to change in this country without us shutting these predator class elites down. And the only way to do that is by hitting them where it hurts, and that's their profits. So, and with that would come like a threat of these non-negotiable demands where we have a complete overhaul of what this system looks like for the people, instead of the predators. So I don't disagree with that, Ricky. That's one of the things that I've considered in my thought process, and why I believe that we actually have to be more radical than any other organization that currently exists.
Absolutely. I mean, all you got to do is look at the UK. Within hours, there'll be hundreds of thousand peoples in the damn street.
Yeah, but they have healthcare, and they know that they're not going to lose their job as a intimidation tactic, retaliation because they didn't show up for work that day because they were out, protesting or whatever. We don't have that here, and that's why we would have to. The only thing, oh God, that makes me want to file as a 527 or 501 whatever is to begin a mass mutual aid fundraiser. Because at this point, I literally don't trust any motherfucker to run a large amount of money except for us, because we are the most transparent organization that's ever existed. So I don't trust any, like Kashama Swan starting the worker strike back party. They had a goal out the gate of $100,000. Then they increased it to $150,000. I don't even know if they've surpassed that already, but they've only existed for like 3 months. And there's no indication how that money is actually being spent. The only concern that I have is how that money would be allocated, because people's bills are different across the country. Their rent or their mortgage or their utility bills, things like that, to make sure that they don't get evicted while they're striking. So this is like super long term. And I know you guys are probably like, what the fuck is she even talking about? But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts and things in my head. But at this point, like after working with so many other organizations and like all of the different events and things that we've put together, like I just really don't trust anyone except for us. Like I know us, I trust all of you guys. Like I would give you my credit card information so we could buy something or whatever, because I trust you guys. And I wouldn't do that with a bunch of other people. So just throwing that out there. I agree with you, Ricky, but I think we need to fucking burn this motherfucker down and start over.
Yeah. A suggestion, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I do often talk about, how healthcare is connected to things on my shows. And I could timestamp things like that, and we could make clips out of it for like TikTok or something.
I'm sorry, what were you referring to though? Like what would we take clips of?
Of when I've guessed and stuff, and I relate healthcare to those situations.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
then,
I just don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I would just timestamp, and if we have someone that can make clips of, like, say a 2-minute thing I said or something, put that on a TikTok or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like I said, I don't really know how to do that. So that'll be like a marketing meeting conversation, which Logan does want to schedule. So I don't know if you guys want to figure out in the chat. We have about 11 minutes left of this meeting. So I kind of want to just charge through a little bit of the rest that's on the agenda. Because I know that Zach and Shane have some plans this afternoon. So I know that it's a little late for us to start organizing actions in July across the country, especially large scale. But should we like promote for other people to start organizing? Because we did get an email from Tracy Carson, and she is planning an action in Indiana again. She's already working on it.
My only fear is the damn Red Hats. They already decided they're doing 50.
Yeah, they've already, it's 25 is their goal, is what they have on their action network. And they're literally doing it from July 27th to July 30th. So they're just really co-opting that time frame, which is what we used last year for the week of action, which I think is absolutely hilarious. So that is a concern that I have as well. I don't know what you guys want to do, how we would do that. Maybe just kind of chew on it for a little bit and think is this something that we want to commit to this year, or do we want to help promote maybe other actions that are happening and kind of join into those? Just not a state by state incremental action, or maybe just take it over and get on a bullhorn and disrupt their action. Oh God, because that'd be hilarious. So yeah, like I said, just kind of chew on that for a little bit and think if this is something we want to commit to, or if we want to focus on what we're doing ourselves first, and then we move forward from there. Okay, you guys?
Yeah.
All right. So Joy had Emily and Alex from United for East Palestine on her show, and they are working to put together a summit, which is next Sunday, April 9th. Is it still going to be next Sunday, Joy?
No, it's actually going to be the Saturday after.
The Saturday after. So let me hold on. So that would be April 15th.
Let me double check. I believe so. I know it's a Saturday now because
That's nice.
I was like, that's Easter. Let me see. I sent a screenshot in the group chat. Let me see. Yes, 15 at 5 p.m.
At 5 p.m. Eastern?
Yes.
Okay. So, hi, Virginia. There's definitely feds in the Red Hat movement, Ricardo.
I know these people are fucking up. If Roger Meadows is not an op, I feel bullshit. He's an op. He is an op.
So the reason that we're bringing this up is because Joy received an invitation from United for EP to come on and join the summit, and she wanted to talk to us about who would want to go on the show, or not show. Is it a show? Is it a live stream summit, or is it just like a meeting?
It is a live stream.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Okay. Ooh. So does anyone want to shout out? Because ultimately what Joy is wanting to touch on is 1881A, which, impacts people of Jacksonville and Flint, Michigan, and all across the country. All of these people should qualify for 1881A, but it doesn't, work if their representatives don't fight for it. But a lot of people don't even know it exists still.
Right.
So
would it make sense? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, would it make sense to have like Steve with you or something to I don't know if the economics will come up, but
I don't think so, to be honest. I think we're going to focus on, this isn't going to be necessarily a national discussion. This is going to be a 1881A, which is for specific areas. Right. So it's not going to be something we conflate to why it's better state by state type thing. Yeah. I was thinking, now, I was told that I can bring as many people as I like for the panel. However, they do want to know how many people and what their names are. So since it is 1881A, I would like to ask Kate Tillow. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I would say Kate Tillow and Anna Malinow, they were supposed to go on Katie Halper's show and talk about East Palestine and 1881A, but Kate had some tech issues, so they ended up not joining. And I think it's either rescheduled for this week or next week for them to go on Katie Halper's show. So I think that touching base with Kay and Anna would be a fantastic idea. And then that way we can really dominate with the national groups, because I don't know if they've invited any other, Red Berets or New York Health Act or, mass care people or whatever. But if we can kind of dominate the conversation, even though it is specific to that local area and we'd be talking about 1881A, we would be representing national and, also using language that we fight for all people. But because this emergency is occurring, they should have healthcare under 1881A of the Social
Yeah.
Security Act.
Because today it's East Palestine, tomorrow it'll be in your backyard.
Right.
So
Well, and a lot of
PPA
people aren't talking about it, but some of Pennsylvania is being affected by East Palestine's tragedy. Rural Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh, and nobody is talking about it, and they're not getting the $1,000 stimulus and things like that, which is pennies anyway. But I digress. So it would be me. I'll ask Kay and Anna. Does anyone else want to go on? I know Elizabeth and Ricky, you've been on camera. Would you like to join? Also, would anyone else like to join?
I do want to point out that Steve has been talking about East Palestine with Jordan, because he's on fucking Status Coup regularly, and as an aside, I really appreciate that he disagrees with Jordan on just about everything. So and I'm glad he doesn't feel like he needs to, not disagree with it. But anyway, that's just a thought.
So, Ricky, you're not going to jump on that?
Jump on what?
Joining Joy in the summit?
I don't know if I need to. I don't know.
Don't jump on me, Ricky, please.
I don't know why I would need to jump on that.
Logan, Shane, Zach, anybody want to join?
Well, my concern is, what if Kay and Anna can't do it? I go on myself, and I'm representing the organization as one person.
Wait, when is it?
Saturday the 15th.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Eastern, so 2 Pacific.
Okay.
If Kay and Anna don't join, I'll join you. But I hate doing live streams, so.
Yeah, but you're also incredibly knowledgeable about it.
Oh God!
You're really good at talking
I can
about
jump in if as a backup. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay.
But if they're doing it, that's preferable.
I think we should definitely have at least 3. So if Kay and Anna can't do it, then Ricky and Elizabeth.
Okay, and Elizabeth, remind me, I will send an email to Anna and Kay and CC you.
Yeah, I'll shoot you a text after this. No worries. Okay, so we have just a few minutes left. As I mentioned previously, Tracy Carson sent an email. It's so funny because she has my phone number, my email, everything, but she submitted it through the website using one of the, submission forms that we have on there. And so she messaged us on the 13th of March. So it's been, well over 2 weeks since she sent a communication. And she said, Indiana is having another march and we need your help. So I wanted to maybe see if anybody is interested in reaching out to Tracy. If not, then I can. But I also want to know what we tell her, because right now we have nothing being organized the same time that she is organizing an action. And then also, how much can we support her? Like graphics, add her to the website, encourage her to do an Eventbrite outside of Facebook, sharing social posts. Like, I just want to know some more information. So anybody, free for all, go for it.
What day is she?
No idea yet. I'm assuming it's going to be in July again. And last year she had it. Last year she had it on the 23rd, was it? I think she had it or the 24th. I don't know. She had it before ours, a week before ours. So I'm assuming it's either Saturday the 22nd or possibly Saturday, July 29th. So there's definitely still time to see if there's some speakers that are in the area that we could reach out to, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. After I just had the Peace in Palestine rally, and literally no one showed up but me, I am very nervous about having another one, but I will do a healthcare rally the same day in Harrisburg.
Oh, when you did the, wasn't it Assange thing? No, it was the Answer Coalition. That action, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
That's
I have
good.
a question or a suggestion. What I always like to play the youth card. What about Zach being on the panel too?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Zach, are you knowledgeable about 1881A?
I mean, I think I have like a base understanding. I don't know that I know it, super specifically. I know it isn't like an executive order that basically authorizes like emergency health care at no cost, or is that not right?
Yes, that is right. And if you wanted to join, I'm sure Elizabeth and I can just
Prep
there's
him. Yeah.
a couple articles we can send you, and also
Yeah.
we could even do some bullet points.
Right. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. If you guys want me on, I'll come on.
I think it looks good to have a young person around.
I think so too. And does that Saturday the 15th, are you available?
I am, to my knowledge, as of now.
Okay.
But I will, if I'm gonna go on it, I'll obviously make it a point to be there.
Right. Yeah. And then we can brief you on it and that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm totally down if you want to step in and go on that stream. I hate going on streams. I hate seeing myself on camera and stuff. So
yeah, I would do it. If you guys think that's a good move, then I would do it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're smart as a whip, so we can just send you
Thank
some
you.
information to brief yourself on, and then you can talk about it knowledgeably.
Yeah, I would be down.
Okay, great. That's cool. Sweet. Okay, so back to Tracy. Logan, Shane, Zach, Ricky, what kind of support can we offer with like graphics and social and that kind of stuff?
I mean, one thing I remember last year we did like the Instagram ad campaign, and we tried to do it towards like people in DC. So maybe as it got closer, we could do one towards people around Indianapolis. I'm assuming that's where it is in Indiana.
I think it is Indianapolis. I can't remember.
I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I would be more than okay at going at Pete Buttigieg because he's Indiana.
Yay.
And he does not give a fuck about these East Coast people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to go after Pete Buttigieg.
I don't know if I'm spelling his name right, but we're gonna go with that. Yeah, so Logan, Shane, Ricky, any suggestions? Comments?
I can offer graphic support for sure.
Okay.
I think I may have met with them before. So
you did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I can like try to reach out to her and see what she needs, but I mean, I'm fine trying to keep everyone in the loop.
Okay. Cool.
Great.
Another thing, I'm not that far away from Indianapolis, so I was thinking that maybe I could go if it was, depending on how it ended up working out.
That would be awesome if you could. I know that you're probably going to be busy. I don't know when you have to, I'm assuming move into the dorm or whatever for college next year. But I know that this last year, she was asking if anybody from National was going to make it out to Indianapolis for her action. And the people who we had available were all going to DC. So I think she was kind of bummed about that. But if you could physically make it out there, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
No pressure though, because I know you got a lot of stuff going on.
No, I think I'm pretty sure.
Sorry, when is their march again? You said, what did you say?
It's probably going to be Saturday the 22nd or the 29th, I would assume. She didn't include a date when she submitted the request, so I'll follow up with her.
Wait, are we talking in the summer or now?
Yeah, this coming summer, July.
Gotcha.
Either the 22nd or 29th, I'm assuming.
Gotcha.
So I'll clarify that with her and get back to all of you.
Yeah, we should offer Zach as a speaker representing.
That would be amazing. You're such a great speaker.
I would love
Yeah.
to do another speech.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, that's actually before I would have to be like getting ready to leave for college.
I would think.
So I may be able to do that actually.
That'd be
That
really cool.
Incredible. And I could also, give you access to my channel if you wanted to like live stream some things or whatever. That would be wonderful because I felt bad last year too, Elizabeth.
Mhm.
You what?
I felt bad last year. We couldn't go.
Oh yeah.
But monetarily, it just wasn't feasible.
It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. No, and I think she understood that because there was no way for her a week later to make it out to DC. So it was kind of a, mutual understanding. It just sucks because she was, wanted to see or meet one of us that have been organizing nationally. So I think that would be really cool if Zach could make it out there. And I mean, I can look into how much it would cost to travel. I'm sure it's much cheaper than flying all the way to DC, but I still haven't. I'm not working right now, so I can't guarantee anything at all at this point. But who was the doctor that you had reached out to for them last year? Why can't I think of her name right now?
Oh, Victor.
No, not Dooley.
Valerie.
McCrae.
Ricky. What was her name? McCrae.
So I wonder if I'm assuming Tracy has Dr. McCrae's contact information since she was a speaker last year. But I would just maybe when I reach out to Tracy, I'll ask her if she still has that info.
Yeah, if not, I have her email.
Okay. So sweet. We'll do that. And then I'm assuming Ricky, social posts, that kind of stuff, and talk about it. Isn't going to be that big of a deal. And okay, so let's move on to the last one here, is Coalition Connections. What I'd like to do is maybe set up, I don't know if it'll end up being once a month, but that's ideally, reach out to the steering committee of National Single Payer, which is pretty much Kay and Anna, and then like Judy and a couple others. I think Ed Greister is on there, and see if we can set up like a meeting with them where it's just the two organizations so we can stay on the same page and help support each other continuously. And then same with RP. I'm planning on going to the weekly meeting tomorrow just to kind of touch base with everybody and then, let them kind of know that we're going through some, we're becoming butterflies and like going through that phase or something. But how does everyone feel about that? Is there others that want to join those meetings? Logan, Joy, or if you can't make it every month, just pop in once a month or once in a while. How does everyone feel about that?
Well, my, I
booty
do it.
Plug. Shane, oh my God. Shane commented booty plug. Pete booty plug. Oh my God. Sorry. I just peeked over at the chat and saw that.
I can say it.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, sorry for the disruption.
I think it's a good idea to maintain a connection with them, and I could certainly drop in sometimes.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. One of the things that I'm really is kind of ruffled my feathers a little bit is that National Single Payer is not embracing the financing of single payer. They included in their open letter to congressional members using a progressive tax to pay for healthcare. And so I really want to send that to my representative. But I don't agree with the progressive tax. I don't disagree that it's, a good idea because rich people should pay more anyways. But at the same time, that's not how healthcare would be funded. So I wish that real progressives and National Single Payer were more connected because I don't know. I feel like I'm just on repeat sometimes when I join their meetings, the National Single Payer, and I'm like, well, you know, we can pay for anything. They always approve war, but not the healthcare. So
Yeah.
Well, is National Single Payer also the group we wanted to speak with to see if they would co-sign on to our 1881A or our
yeah, the medical debt bill.
no the UN.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they actually have been sending out they do a monthly newsletter, email blast, and it's only just recently that they stopped sharing the graphic and for people to submit stories. So they've been promoting it more than probably any other organization that's co-signing, I guess, for the UN filing. And ultimately, if we don't become a nonprofit, we might end up passing it over to National Single Payer to be the main filer.
That's the thing. I want to talk to them about if they are willing to work on it with us or to be the lead, or I mean, they just have more people.
Well, and not only do they have more people, but they have more money because most of their membership are older, like retired doctors, lawyers, that kind of stuff. More mature activists that have, you know, retired and they have more funds. Like when I went to go and fundraise for DC this last year, I went into their meeting and I asked them to match what I was donating, and it was like within 5 minutes it was already matched. So they had no problem dropping $250 at a time, and they are now fiscally sponsored by ADA as a 501c4, and Dawn is their representative.
I'm so happy. Oh
yeah.
my God. We should all join and immediately get on their official membership list. Oh my God.
Yeah, so
and then write a thank you letter to ADA.
Yeah, right. I actually sent them a card before Christmas and thanked them for everything. Dawn and then also ADA. But yeah, so now they do fundraising. They're actually hiring for someone right now. Oh, did Zach have to dip out?
He said his computer died. He texted.
Okay, cool. Betty fed Toto. Yeah, so Betty is now M4A everywhere. And she is the one, I believe, running the money for that organization, because if you go to their fiscal sponsorship, which is a 501c3, and there's super major restrictions on like political lobbying and stuff when you do a 501c3. So I'm really surprised they chose that.
Well, actually, it's not so restrictive. We have it at Real Progressives. We started Real Progress in Action as a 501c4, so that's where we can do the political stuff. But you know, it turns out that the limitation is really just you can't support a candidate or oppose a candidate who's running in a current election. So it's really weird that
it still shows they're uneducated, because you should choose not RP, but you should choose the safest route.
Right.
Why?
Right.
I mean, it makes no sense.
Right. If they were to go to a Bernie rally, if there were to be a Bernie rally, for example, and as themselves, it could be a problem. But go on, guys.
Yeah.
I'll make you a banner.
Okay, so we have just this. I know we're over the time, but we do have this just one last question. The marketing group, do you guys want to go ahead and schedule a marketing meeting? I don't know if Zach's popped back into the
let me see,
the backstage or whatever.
Who can see
I
backstage?
Keep wanting to say waiting.
No, he's not.
He's not? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern, like normal. Okay. So tomorrow's the 3rd, 7 p.m. Eastern. Cool. And then we will, Joy did record this meeting, Virginia, so you'll be able to hear
Great.
the
Thanks.
beginning of what we discussed.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's all I had on the agenda. Like I said, it is food for thought on the direction of this movement.
Mhm.
Think about how it's intertwined with so many other things and how we can broaden our coalition by reaching
Yeah.
out to organizations that are fighting for housing, education, climate, nutrition, SNAP, student loan debt, imperialism, anti-imperialist, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Because I added in the notes, we want the full layer cake.
Oh, great.
We want the whole damn pie.
I love it.
The
Yeah.
whole one. Zach, it is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. So that's 6 p.m. Central. Does that work for you? Okay, cool. And then how do you guys want to host that meeting? Does Ricky, do you want to use your StreamYard for it? Or, because I think, Joy, do you have a stream tomorrow night?
I have a show at 9.
Mhm.
So as long as we can, like, if it's going to be like 1 hour tight, then we can use this.
I think 1 hour would be. I think that would be enough, unless there's any
Or I
other.
would say like an hour and 15.
Yeah, I think an hour would be enough.
Hey, if anybody wants to come to a webinar on Tuesday night about austerity and the capital order, or austerity and capitalism, I'll put the link in the chat.
Okay, I thought I got an email. Where did it go? It must not show up on my desktop for some reason, only on my phone. That's weird. But yeah, I'll add that to the notes as well. And then I will, I'm going to join the RP meeting tomorrow. So I'm probably not going to be at the marketing meeting, or I will be very late to it. Just a heads up, you guys.
And tomorrow night, I have moved to Amend on my show, who was a big supporter of us. So if anyone wants to tune in, that's nice.
We purposely scheduled the webinar for Tuesday, Joy, so that it wouldn't compete with yours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, can you add that I'll resend the invite link for everyone to Slack and Trello?
Yeah, I have it up in the notes, and I'll move them down here for after
gotcha.
actions. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I gotta clean all this up because how it is taking notes and also hosting. So yeah, that's it, you guys. I'm sorry that we went over time, but I know it's been a long time since we've met. I hope that doesn't conflict with the plans that Zach and Shane have. I hope you're not late or anything.
Just really quick, thank you to those who have reached out. I really appreciate it. To those who don't know, I was diagnosed with kidney disease and have to start treatments with transfusions and every week. And I have it's going to be about $3,000, and that is after my insurance. So yeah, the infusions are starting at a local cancer center, and then I have to go see a different specialist this Friday to see how bad it is and things like that.
So wait, is this dialysis or what kind of transfusions are they?
This would be, they're going to be like 4 hours long. And it's going to be like through IV. I'm going to be getting iron transfusions.
Okay.
And then I'll be seeing Friday what other treatments I'm going to be getting.
Oh, honey. What a fucking boy. God sure is pissed off at you.
Seriously, like I concentrate so much on my eyes.
Yeah.
That, like, I forgot, like,
there's a whole other body connected.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
sweetheart. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, you're a badass. You're going to beat it. So
I hope so.
can't hold you down. Hells nah. All right, you guys, this has been an awesome meeting. I know that we talked about a lot. Like I said, chew on the direction of this movement for a little bit. Next Sunday is Easter, so I think we'll skip next Sunday. And if everyone's cool, we could actually meet on the 16th, which would be the day after the summit. And we can kind of just do a debrief of the summit and then, you know, have a little meeting and have this conversation about the direction of the movement. In the meantime, I'll reach out to Tracy Carson to get more details from her, and then the marketing meeting tomorrow night, and the webinar on Tuesday.
Who's reaching out to Kay and
oh yeah, I'll remind Joy.
Okay.
Reach out to Tracy. Oh God. Oh Jesus. Savage. No. Kay and Anna. Okay. Sweet. Oh, and then one other thing about the meeting with Rokana's assistant, it's pretty much all right now is hush hush, so we aren't really, you know, talking about it openly on socials or anything like that. Just so everybody is on the same page regarding that meeting. Until we know more, because there's other organizations that they're reaching out to as well to work on the legislation.
Great.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for everything. I'm so glad that we're able to meet again. And yeah, marketing meeting tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. And I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful week. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we will talk later.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Sorry I was late.
No, you're fine. It was important making pancakes, like I said.
Yes.
I love pancakes.
Chasing little girls around.
Yeah.
Will you send me the link to the tape so I can watch it, the video?
Yes, I will send it to Elizabeth, and then she could forward it to the team.
Great.
Yep,
Thank
exactly.
you.
And I'll add it to the notes too, so we have a recording of that in the notes.
I can't believe I still call it videotape as if, you know.
I do too.
It's okay.
My dad says I have a TV show, so
yeah, exactly.
That's so cute. Your dad's a hottie.
Ew.
He's 82.
Oh, he's a little sexy piece.
It doesn't matter how old he is. He's dad. That's the creepy part. I don't care.
Oh, I love you guys. All right, I'm gonna dip out.
Bye, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.